Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you guys are. Hope you are doing well, and welcome to I think we're on episode 3 of the Forest Forum. Hope you guys are well. We got a great panel with us tonight to discuss everything Nottingham Forest, including the Wolves match. We'll be talking about Stevie Cooper. We'll be talking about the upcoming games. And, well, it's not planned. So whatever direction it goes in, guys, you're just going to have to bear with us. If you'd be kind enough to hit that like button first, and we're going to jump straight into it. If any of you have any questions for the panelists, you can chuck in a super chat your question. If you want it directed to a specific one of these beauties, just chuck their name in as well. Get the conversation flowing in the comments. I'll be reading it and pulling out some of your more interesting messages. But let's start by saying hello to our lovely panel. Start with this guy next to me. Ez, how are you, matey?
Evening all. Yeah, I'm really good, bro. Looking forward to a bit of therapy, I think. Let's call it that. We'll call it
I think it's a forest therapy session more than the forum session. Forest and how are you? Just give us a one-word answer before you get triggered off already. And the newest member, huh?
One word? Are you kidding?
You've had your one word now, mate. And as well, not as always, this is his first appearance on the Forest Forum. We got Wazza. How are you, Warren? Good to see you.
I'm better than I was yesterday, put it that way.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm sure we're all feeling a little bit better today. You've not improved your mood since last night?
Is that you again, Warren?
Is it me again?
I don't know. Is there an echo, guys? Let us know in the chat. Or Tommy, are you trolling us?
No echo.
Let us know.
I can't hear it.
There's no echo.
We'll crack on. We'll crack on. Right. Obviously, we played Wolves yesterday. I've let my thoughts be known on what I thought of the game, what I thought of the performance, the selection, and everything else. So I kind of want to take a bit of a hostess seat today, a host, not hostess seat, and I want to get your guys' opinions on it and see where we were. Warren was point innocent last time, says Mark. Warren's never innocent. Look at that face. That's not a face of the innocent. I'm going to go around the panel starting to my right. I'm going to start. Really, I just want to get, if we start with just a general summary, I think, of what you thought of the game and any little points you want to add, and then we'll get under the bonnet of everything. So, Ez, you want to start us off, buddy? How did you feel about yesterday?
Probably like everybody else, disappointed again coming out of it. Disappointed with the lineup, disappointed with how we played, and disappointed that we didn't take advantage of a team that was probably there for the taking. So a lot of regrets from yesterday's game, and we need some clarification and some answers. That I think we're all a bit confused as to what direction is of our club at the moment. But yeah, that's just that'll be my opening gambit. I'll let Ant take over if you want to.
Go on, Ant.
Well, I was hoping after the Villa post-mortem we'd have something a little more positive to talk about, but we don't really have anything more positive to talk about because it was pretty much a carbon copy.
That's your opening gambit?
Yeah. You told me to not talk. You told me
getting quieter and quieter.
He's keeping his powder dry.
That collar around your neck is working, right? Warren, give us an opening statement on it.
Toothless. Absolutely toothless yesterday. I thought the Villa game was a step in the right direction, finally. A very small step, but a step in the right direction nonetheless. And then yesterday, I couldn't believe what I was watching first half, especially. It was just absolutely dire. And it's difficult because, we all love Forest, all want us to do well. But when you're seeing this week in, week out, it's difficult to sort of understand why. It really is. But I'm sure we're going to dissect that tonight.
Yeah, well, while we're with you, mate, I mean, let's start with the team selection. When you saw the team sheet, how did you feel seeing that? Was there anything that stuck out to you? Were you happy with it? Would you have made changes?
I think Cook's been a little bit better last 2 games, but I think we all know Cook's probably the wrong choice. Apparently, O'Brien had an illness, and I saw last night on Instagram a post from Loddy saying he's got a small ankle injury that he's been nursing the last couple of games. I don't know if anyone saw that last night. But I don't know. Mangala, why is he not starting Mangala? Is a big one. And also the subs bench yesterday, 4 or 5 defenders. It didn't make sense. None of that made sense to me at all. But at the moment, I don't think it matters who we're putting out. They're just not performing. Whoever he picks, there seems to be a real lack of fight. Like I said at the beginning, Toothless, there's no drive, there's no ambition. It's just, it's not, for the money those guys get paid, it's not good enough.
It was poor, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Now I'm getting an echo. Who's that from? Can you guys hear that?
There is a bit of an echo, definitely.
All right, mute one at a time. As mute. Actually, I can just mute. Echo? Gone. No, it's still there. It's not there. Let me mute Warren. Echo. Gone.
It's Warren,
It's you.
Warren on his settings again, isn't it?
Oh my god. All right, let's keep Warren. I'll just keep you on mute until we come to you, and then unmute and remute and all that. Live TV, baby, live TV. I forgot what we were saying. Yeah, so Ez, on that team selection, I mean, we had a debrief on it. Tell the guys what you thought of it from your perspective.
Well, we saw a leaked one, didn't we, from the night before, which the previous leaked team sheet I saw turned out to be the spot on the actual team sheet. So the leaked team sheet we saw was a lot better than the one that we actually got. Even though there was a few names in there that we kind of weren't totally happy with, it had other names in there that we were hoping for. Again, uninspiring, really uninspiring. And this is one of the main criticisms that I'm going to bring up, because there's one player that probably 99% of Forest supporters would have on that team sheet. And why isn't? And we all know who it is. If I wouldn't even have to say it if we went round now. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the case probably for, like I say, for 99% of the Forest fans. So are we all wrong, or is Cooper wrong? Because he's bringing him on, and he's bringing him on at times where it's not having enough of an influence. He's I don't know what he has to do to get a start at the moment. It's the same thing we were saying about Dennis a few weeks ago. What does he have to do to start or get back in the team? Some of our best results or performances this season were with Mangala in the team. I don't get it. He's not inspiring me with his lineups. And I was even seeing that, I still tried to be positive, and I did remark on your pre-match, on your watch-along, saying that I'm hoping today's the day when he makes those 5 subs, and he makes a difference with those 5 subs, because he keeps going on about them, how the game changes. But he's not changed a single game with them yet. So I was hoping, we haven't got the starting lineup that we wanted, but hopefully he'll use the subs in the right way this time. And again,
they were too late, man. They were too late. We were crying out at halftime, get Quixote off, get Mangala on at halftime. And yet again, he waits till we go behind. I think the first sub was in the 70th minute, yeah.
And what was that first sub? It was taken off a striker to bring Lingard on when we were a goal down.
Yeah, exactly. And 2 of the subs were in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game. What are they going to do? So in essence, he made 2 or 3 subs to change the game, but again, it was too late. But sorry, I pitched down. I can't hold it in.
No, there's not much more I can say on that subject in regards to the starting lineup. But again, like I said, just uninspiring. What I want more than anything from us is the passion and desire on the pitch. And maybe I'll go on to I'll elaborate on it later. But what's disappoints me more than anything right now is the manner of our defeats. I don't mind losing if we play well and we give it our all, and then we're just not the better team. But we're losing and we're awful. We're awful. It was, and I'm going to say it because somebody else might say it, I'm going to get it in first. It was like watching a Hooton team yesterday from the last few games. Passing from one centre back to another. No, And you had a really great show earlier today, actually. I know if anyone hasn't watched it, it needs to go and watch it, because it'll give some context to probably some of our arguments and debates today round the stats. Passing it through the middle, it's our lowest pass percentage through the middle, through our midfield. We're just not doing it, and we're not playing brave passes. The first pass that Mangala played when he came on was between two of their defenders, and he got it through to Freuler.
Yeah,
a risky pass, but he took the risk, and we're not doing it. And it's uninspiring. That's all I can say. That's the main thing I can say about the lineup. It's uninspiring.
It's poor. The performance is poor as well, and I saw no improvement to the Villa match. I get why he did the Villa match, but we weren't at the Etihad yesterday or the Emirates, man. We were at freaking Molineux, who has scored 3 goals in the whole season, and that's the way he's playing it. What's he going to do next Saturday against Liverpool? Is he literally going to name 10 defenders? It's just doing my head in.
Yeah,
we got to come on to Ant. He's folded his arms. He's sitting on his hands. He's doing what he can. He needs to explode. And talk me through kind of your day really yesterday. And
well, first of all, I'd like to make a quick statement. There's a lot of stuff going around about people who have the audacity to criticize any player or the manager or the style of play or the formation or the team sheet as negative. We're all Forest fans. We all love our club. We want the best for our club. And sometimes if something's not right, you have the right to express your opinion and say, I don't think that's right. That doesn't mean you're negative. You're actually trying to be positive by suggesting a better solution to the one that's being currently played out. So we're not being negative. We're positive. We love Forest. We want nothing more than Steve Cooper to take this team and smash everybody out of sight. But if it's not happening, we have to get our feelings out.
You got to ask the questions.
We have to be honest to our feelings. For example, as I say, we want Steve Cook to succeed, but at the moment we're not seeing it.
Hey, Cook or Cooper?
Cook, Cooper, Brennan, anybody. Right?
Okay.
We have a right, and we're not being negative. So people shouldn't just say, no. Close your eyes if you like. It won't make it better.
Yeah.
Okay, so yesterday was a fucking disaster. It was the wrong team selection. It was the wrong tactics. You know, today I managed to catch the second half of Leeds versus Arsenal. Can anybody tell me one Leeds player that would get into that Arsenal side? But in that second half, from what I saw, Leeds deserved to win that second half. They were the better side. And why were the better side? Bollocks. That's why they were the better side. Yep. They fought, they scrapped, they tried, they progressed, they attacked, they closed down the spaces. What were we yesterday?
And how many of the Leeds players, forget the Arsenal team, would get into the Forest team?
That was another point, because I'm sick of seeing people saying, with all due respect, everybody talks their opinion, and I do respect it. I'm sick of people saying our squad's not good enough. Our squad is good enough. I'm telling you right now, the players we've got in that 25-man squad are good enough. They are better than 3 other clubs in that division, without any shadow of a doubt. If the right players are picked, and the formation is correct, and the passion and heart is there, we are capable of picking up enough points to be better than 3 other clubs. And I have to say this, in my opinion, the three main objectives of a football manager is to pick the right squad, pick the right formation, and motivate the players. If those aren't there, then there's nobody else to blame.
Yep. It's just, and the line I would use is the definition of insanity. What is it? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And
Yeah.
what I will say is Cooper yesterday tried to do the same thing, wanting the same result as the Villa match.
Three goals Wolves have scored. 3 goals. Does that tell you they're a potent attacking side? No, it tells you they're shit.
Yeah.
So why are we playing on the bloody goalkeeper's bloody goal line?
Because Cook's playing.
The team we had last year would have beaten Wolves yesterday.
Yeah.
You know why
I say the team yesterday could have beaten Wolves if the mentality that was set from Cooper wasn't to play drop back football, low block football, all that stuff against Wolves, man. I can't handle that. A team, like you say, that scored 3 goals. Why not 20 minutes into the game when their plan was clear? All they were doing was attack, giving the ball to Traore, who couldn't cross, who couldn't shoot.
Trash.
He's just chiseled and fast. Yeah,
he looks great. He's got pace, but the guy cannot cross and the guy cannot score. Yep. He never has been able to.
And that was their only threat.
It was proven again yesterday.
Yep. And that was their only threat. But my point is, why after 20 minutes? Okay, if you've started with this low block formation and mentality, after 20 minutes, you should be looking at that as Steve Cooper and saying to yourself,
"Yeah,
there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Yeah, let's take the handbrake off."
Did you see how when we actually decided to go over the halfway line, how their defense were panicking, kicking the ball out, didn't know their arse,
slicing it for a corner. Yeah,
you know.
You're just getting me annoyed. I'm going to go to Warren now.
Yeah, good idea.
Right, let me unmute you, Warren. Let's hope this works. That works. Okay. Yeah. So Warren, I want to touch on something that Ez mentioned earlier, which is about the substitutions. And it's something that I've been bleating on about for weeks. Every time, if you go and look back at when he's made substitutions, there's 2 points I want to ask you about. Do you remember a game where a substitute has come on and impacted it positively so that it's turned the game around and we've taken points from it? And the second question is he making the subs at the right time for you?
Well, I'll answer the second part first. No, he's not. Yep. That's a simple answer. He's not. He's not making enough and he's not making it at the right time. But if we're honest, if we're really honest, we look back at last season, if I was to grade Steve Cooper's management on all aspects last season, the one I would say was the lowest rated. It's still a very high rating. He wasn't that great at substitutions last year either. I mean, you think back to the Bournemouth game where we looked more and more tired in the second half when an eventually scored in after 83 minutes. And I don't think he had the players on the bench to be fair, but he didn't make a change. This season, no, he's not been making substitutions at the right time, and the players he's brought on haven't really made an impact. I tell you, there is why you. You said this yesterday on your stream, and the only one I thought about was when Mangala was injured at the Everton game and he brought on Yates. And actually, Yates came on and he played well. He drove the team forward and we got a goal. But apart from that one...
That was necessity, Warren. That was injury.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was. Yeah, yeah. I know it was because of an injury, so it doesn't quite quantify for your question. But it was a positive substitution in the long run. But apart from that, you're right. There hasn't been a lot. But then again, if we're going to look at the broader picture, how much of this can we put on Cooper and how much of this can we put on the players? And a lot of people are saying it's all Cooper. I don't think it is all Cooper. A lot of it you can blame on Cooper. But the players aren't performing. And we've said it here. If the players are coming on, he's making the substitutions at the wrong time. When he does make them, the players aren't performing. I mean, look at, I'm trying to think, Dennis when he came on against Spurs. And he was full of energy, but he was running here, there, and everywhere. It wasn't any sort of controlled performance. He wasn't playing in the position. He was just desperate to impress because we've got a big squad and everyone wants playing time. So when players are getting on, you would think they would grasp this, like Dennis did, even though it wasn't. It was full of energy, but it wasn't a very controlled performance. But no, in short,
where's the lack of control coming from? You know, is he coming? I don't know the answer to this. I'm sure you don't either. But is he coming on with specific instructions from Cooper to say, run in this channel, get in behind here, do this X, Y, and Z? Or is it just a case of go out and kick the ball, mate? Or
sorry, I'm getting excited and throwing the phone about. Yeah. I know what you're saying. I mean, obviously, we see the footage from the training sessions and they've shown us the footage in the summer of, he's got the the analytical team doing all the video work. So surely they can see these things, and surely they're talking about these things. So if they are talking about them, then that suggests the players aren't doing the jobs. So, you know, we've got no evidence of what actually happens in the training sessions apart from these little glimpses that we get. I thought on Monday at the Villa game, he obviously told them, you are staying back. Even in the second half, when it looked like we could have pushed on, there was, like Ant mentioned this the other night, we started as a 4-3-3, but we dropped back into a 4-4-2 second half, and we stayed deep. And that, I think, is the only time a team has looked like they've followed his instructions to a T. But then the argument is Cooper's being negative. So I honestly don't know what the answer is. We just need something to change, whether that's a change of manager, whether he's going to change his formation again, whether players are actually going to step up and start earning the money. I don't know, Wolverine. I really don't know what the answer is, but something has got to change. Because like these two gentlemen have said, it was toothless. Like Ant said, yeah, there was nothing going forward. Like Ed said, there was no grit, no determination, no enthusiasm. Yeah. And you know, we don't want that. We want players who want to wear the badge.
Yeah, I just want to address this point from Zidane. Are you guys saying Cooper out without really saying it? I've already said Cooper out. We'll come to what the rest of the panel are saying at some point during the stream. We're just getting warmed up, guys. So, yeah, give us time. We want to dissect everything, and then we'll go through it. But as always, keep your comments coming in the chat. Ez, I want to come over to you. And I want to ask you a question. It's something I did on a video last week. I saw an interview with MGW where he flat out said twice in the interview that Cooper's soft. And he wasn't saying it in a derogatory way, nor am I saying it now in a derogatory way. But that really was probably the first alarm bell that went off in my head when I heard that. And that was after he'd come out, I think the night before. Who did we lose to? It was Leicester. We just lost to Leicester. And Cooper had come out and said, I don't want to, I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to go in there and slate the players. I felt they were still trying to the end, etc., etc. Yeah. But the question is, do you agree with the statement that Cooper's too soft? And does he need to grow a bit of clough in him? Yeah. Read the riot act. Or do you think the approach he's taken is the right one?
I don't think his approach is a problem. I think it's the people around him, because we've seen it before. And Clough, and you mentioned Clough with Taylor, the good cop, bad cop. You've got to have a bad cop. You know, if Cooper's the good cop, then who's the bad cop? And was it Stephen Reid last season? I don't think it was, personally. I think that's just something that was pushed at straws. What's Alan Tate's role? You know, I saw a comment on your stream yesterday, on one of your streams. I can't remember which one it was, but on one of your streams, yeah, exactly. On one of your streams from a guy saying, "Oh, we need somebody like Roy Keane in there with him." You know, somebody who give the players the bollocking that they probably deserve. And Warren's right. It's not all Cooper. The players have got to play a part. But you know, and I know, and we all know that the club can't sack all the players. So what will they do? What would most clubs do? Eventually, they're going to sack the manager. You're not going to sack your whole playing staff. You're going to get rid of a manager, aren't you? So I'm not going to go too far into the Cooper out bit yet. But I'm not inspired by what he's done. I've not seen progress. And like I said, I'd rather we went down with a fight than a whimp. And we are going down at this rate. In this trajectory, we're definitely going down. And nobody can argue with that. But we're going down with a whimper. We're not fighting. And I'd rather go down with a fight, you know, after all this time. And others have said 23 years. Yes, we know it's been 23 years. I've lived through it. Most of us, all of us on here have lived through that.
We're all 24 here.
Yeah. And we appreciate this season anybody else, you know, as much as anybody else, should I say. So I don't want to waste this opportunity. And I'm with you, mate, 100% on the sense that it's easier to do it while you're in the league than trying to get back in the league. If we got relegated and tried to get up, we've said this before, there is no guarantee that we're going to come back straight back up, even if Cooper's still in charge. So let's get rid of that notion. And I want to touch on, because he was really eloquent last night, but you had NFFC go on yesterday, and he made a great point about how the mentality of the supporters. But there's people talking about, oh, if we go down, Cooper can bring us up. We're already thinking about going down. We've already, we already feel defeated, and that's harsh to say after 10 games, So something has to change, and whether it's Cooper in or Cooper out, something has to change, because I'm not accepting that we're going to go down without a fight. I'm not having it, and I'm not going to be happy with it, and I'm not.
But that's the way it's going, Eds. That's the way it's going. If you take the trajectory now, we're ending up on about 18 points, 20 max.
Absolutely.
That's
and
pathetic.
I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm going to tell it how it is, whether that annoys people or not. But I think the majority of people are thinking it without saying it. Even the gentleman you had on last night, who the Billy Davis impersonator, Cooper in, he was Cooper out by the end of a conversation. He was almost Cooper out. So, if you guys believe that Cooper needs to stay, come with the argument. Give us a reason why. Show us something that's saying that that's the reason, and don't just go back on, because I'm not going to go on sentimentality. I'm going to go on the fact that I love my club more than anything else. The club is number one. Cooper is a part of that club for now, but if he can't bring the best, if he can't bring the best out of the players that he's got, and I don't accept the argument either that because of all the new signings, he went into a club full of new signings. None of them were his signings when he came in to the club just over a year ago, and he turned in a team that was a bottom of the league, same players, and he turned them into the best team in the league by the time we got out of it. We had the best record under him. So he can do it with players that he doesn't know or players that aren't his. So I don't buy that argument either. I'm not seeing any progress, that's what's confusing me and disappointing me the most. I'm not seeing any progress.
Before I come to Anne, I want to come to you next, Anne, and I want to ask you: have you noticed the difference between Newcastle all the way until Wolves? Remember that question, because I'll probably forget it. I've just seen this from Thomas. Newcastle were 20th towards God knows what those numbers are, but basically at the coming over to December, and then they turned it around, which is true. And he's saying short-term memories, lads. 2 points I just want to make on that. Firstly, Newcastle got bought out by Saudi. Yeah, they got real decent money pumped into them. They brought quality in Bruno. They had Eddie Howe, who's a top-notch manager as well. And it was different circumstances. This whole notion of just because someone's done it, then everyone can do it, doesn't really wash with me. And secondly, I know you're not referencing this specifically with this point, but I've had a lot of this today about short-term memories, and Cooper's the one who got us up last season. I'm not denying that. I love him for what he did. I will never forget him. He will live in my heart forever for what he did last year. But this seems to be the only Cooper in argument that's coming back at me. If there's better ones, please let me know. But my point is, if that's your argument, then you are putting Cooper ahead of Forest. And for me,
sorry. One point on that Newcastle run, though. That run that they had, that was good enough if they carried it on through the whole season to win them a championship. That's how good a run it was. So to expect that we're going to go from what we're doing to a run back, and they finished 11th in the end, didn't they? So they didn't even get into the top 10 with such an amazing run. But that was an unbelievable run they went on, and that's just not going to happen every season. So that's just a slightly different angle on that argument. But I'll let you guys carry on.
And then he's just come back with this again. It's his first time managing in a Prem. He's learning as well. And yes, he is. But does that necessarily mean it's the best thing for Nottingham Forest? It's the best thing for Steve Cooper to learn how to manage in the Prem. But my question back to you is that the best thing for Nottingham Forest? Because what you're saying with that statement is you're admitting to inexperience. Now, I'm not holding that against him, but that's not really, is that really ideal, should I say, for what we need currently? That's my question here. And do you want to add anything on that line of conversation?
A couple of points. I've put it in the comments a few times. I don't want to hear or see. I'm not telling people not to do it, because obviously everybody's entitled to do what the hell they like. But I'm personally sick of seeing this crap about going back down and coming back up again. We're a quarter way through the season. We're 10 games into the season. We've got plenty of time to be rescued. Like I've said before, there are 3 worse teams in our squad. We're not down yet. We're only a few points off bloody safety, for goodness sake. How many points off safety are we? 3? You know,
no, more than that. We're 4.
Four points. And how many games we've got left?
It's 5. It's 5.
5 points. And how many games we've got left? Come on. Why are people saying, oh, it's all right, we'll go down and come back up? We're here. Let's stay here. There's no guarantee we're going to come back up. Trust me, there's no guarantee we're going to come back up. Who knows what will happen if we went down with the money, et cetera, the players.
Yeah.
Who knows? Okay, so that's point 1. Second is, I am 100% Cooper in, providing he turns this round and makes us win. That's all I'm bothered about. I'm not Cooper in or Cooper out. I have no personal agenda. I love Steve Cooper. I don't want him to go.
Yeah.
But I don't want him to take us down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people seem to think that if we want Cooper to fail. We don't want Cooper to fail. But it's looking at the moment, if things don't change, that he will fail. And we can't afford to go through the lottery of going back down in the hope or assumption by some people that we're going to come straight back up. We're here with 5 points from safety. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And this is the other one that comes up. You don't become a bad manager overnight. I don't think I've heard a single Forest fan say that he's become a bad manager overnight. And I did use an analogy yesterday that I think is relevant. I've said it's like at work when someone gets promoted from being the best mid-level manager in your organization.
That was a perfect analogy, that was. Perfect.
Yeah. Best mid-level manager, employee of the month, month in, month out, and then they get promoted to a director level with no experience. Do you really expect them to sink or swim? You know, and I'm saying in relation to Cooper, is that jump now too high? He's the best at what he did last season, but has he got the tools to take that next step, or is that next step too much? Yeah. So that's my argument back, Phil, on that one. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're quite right. This is the Premier League. Have people watched Premier League? It's nothing like the Championship. Nothing. We love Steve Cooper. We get sick of saying it. But the Championship is not the same as the Premier League. They are different animals. It takes a different mentality, a different quality of manager. I'm not saying Steve Cooper can't get there, but we can't afford to be his training ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But your point is spot on as well when you say that I would be first to cheer and clap and admit what I'm thinking is wrong. Go and win the Brighton match. Yeah. Go and have a ballsy display against Liverpool, even if we lose. Yeah. Just show me a display that shows me there's signs of change, because I haven't seen, honestly, I would probably argue we've gone backwards in the last few games, not forwards. I really would.
Just one more point before Warren comes in. And just going back to what I said at the beginning, we wouldn't be sat here all disappointed and as depressed as we are right now if we saw some fight and a performance. You know, losing. You can lose in many ways, but the way we're losing with no fight, no balls, as Ant alluded to.
Yes, I go back to that Leeds game against Arsenal. Yeah. Leeds aren't on the same planet as Arsenal.
But we weren't scared, you know, and we're playing with so much fear. And the 1 or 2 players that don't play that way, who play fearlessly, he's not putting in the team. I'm sorry, and I'll hark back to it. But Mangala would have made a difference yesterday. You know, he would have made a difference. He made a difference when he came on. If he'd had more time and better players around him or better shape around him, he would have made more of an influence. But we're not playing progressive players. You're playing Freuler, who's probably been our most solid player in the last couple of games. Now he's finally being given a chance. But he's
8 games, Ed. Sorry to interrupt you, but that annoys me. 8 games is taking him to realize what we've been shouting about since the moment he was linked to us, not signed for us. Yeah, it's taken Coops 8 games to understand that this guy is a cut above most of the stuff we got in the team.
Can I just say one more quick thing about the people you mentioned it earlier on that keep saying, "Don't forget what he's done for us," this, that, and the other. If you're going to give the manager all the credit for the promotion and the way we played last year, then you can't turn around when things are going bad and say he's not responsible for it.
Yeah.
The manager either is responsible for the performance or he's not. You need to make your minds up.
Yeah.
And the thing is, this is, like you said earlier, this is the Premier League. Yeah. Not one other club does the buck not stop with the manager. This isn't the Championship anymore. We're not pissing around with Championship level decisions and things like that. Things have changed, and we're just not used to it because we haven't seen it for 23 years. Wazza, I want to bring you in. Let me unmute you again and pray.
Warren. Echo. I need to go for a wee. I feel really bad because I don't want you to think I'm like.
Thanks for sharing with 200 people, mate.
I know, but I don't want Warren to think, "Oh, I'm speaking. Ant's pissed off."
He knows we don't like him. Stop making excuses.
I'm dying, so I'll be back.
God, do you want to add anything on just that general conversation that we've had? I just would like your thoughts on it, mate.
Shocking, as we all know, it was a wake-up call.
Sorry, I just unmuted again.
Yeah, I was just saying. The Newcastle game beginning of the season was, a wake-up call. It was a shocking performance. And then I'm going to slightly disagree with you and say there was 2 or 3 games where we rode on, but we played better, and it was starting to form. And then from Man City onwards, it's been dreadful again. Like I said, it was a small step forward, the Villa game. But since then, the performance, especially second half against Brighton, the whole game against Fulham yesterday, it's just not good enough. And like Ed says, and I totally agree, it was my main point as well tonight, is there's no passion. You don't mind going to watch your team and they lose if every man's gone on the pitch or every woman, depending, Forest ladies, congratulations, Forest women, great result today. But, every person going on the pitch and just giving their all, playing for the badge, playing for the shirt, and we're not seeing that, and it's disappointing. And yes, you can blame, like I said before, you can blame the manager, but you see this throughout time. And then all of a sudden, new manager comes in, all these players start playing properly, and it makes me sick because the amount they get paid and they're not going to put the effort in. But I think Ant's made a good point there about, people say, "Oh yeah, but he brought us up." So how much of that was him and how much of that was the players last season? So you can't have it both ways, like he's just said. And I'm still.
Oh, sorry, I accidentally pressed it. Sorry.
I'm still Cooper in, but I think he's on a short timeline now. There's got to be a change around in the next few games because I think Mr. M's going to pull the trigger, if not before, definitely by the World Cup break. I think we all sort of think.
I'm going to mute you to ask you a question. Yeah, I'm glad you're saying Cooper in because I want this to be a balanced panel. Yeah, I feel it's slightly not. But my question to you Cooper in now, but what's your cutoff point? If we get to the World Cup, which is in 5 games away, and we've gone L, where would you sit? I'm going to unmute you again. This is fun.
Musical mics. I don't think it'll matter what my opinion is, because if we go, like you just said, 5 L's up to the World Cup, Mr. M will make the decision. Mr. Marinakis will come in and he will change it. He won't continue because, like Ant's just said, this is the Premier League. We've got no guarantees we're going to come back up. The Championship is probably the second hardest league in the world after the National League to get out of. It took us 23 years last time. I've sat through all those 23 years, so I know how long it's taken. As you know, most of us on this panel have. So I'm still Coopering, and I still hope he's going to turn it round. I want him to succeed. Obviously, I want Forest to succeed. But I think it's going to be out of all our hands by the time it comes to November and the World Cup break, because he'll want someone to come in to look at the squad during that time and be ready to make choices for the next transfer window, won't he? So he'll want someone to come in beforehand. That's what I would do personally. But as it stands,
sorry, I cut you off again because I thought you'd stop talking. Can I? This is fun. I want to ask you a further question on that. Yeah, if you're willing, you're kind of alluding to the fact of you're still Cooper in. You want to get it till about the World Cup, as an example. Yeah. My question to that is, where do you see the points in the next 5 games? You're unmuted.
And relax. I don't. If they're going to play like yesterday, I don't see any points. And that is why, by that time, Mr. Marinakis will have made a move. Because we cannot win any game playing the way we did yesterday. And like Kant said, I hope he goes down and they get a result at Brighton. That'd be fantastic. I can't see it happening. I really can't see us getting any points in the next few games, the way we're playing. And I just don't know who's going to come in, though. Who would fancy this job? I mean, someone's going to be desperate enough to come in, but hopefully we're going to get someone. Well, I don't know if that's a conversation you want to have, or a topic you want to talk about later. But no, in answer to your question, I can't see us getting any points the way we're playing if we're going to play like we did yesterday.
Okay.
You can mute me.
So, yeah, thanks. So really what I'm alluding to there, and at least it worked, it killed the echo, but I'm not doing it to disrespect you either. The point I'm trying to get to there is that if there are people who are like, let's give him a few more games until we get the World Cup break, and then you do go and ask them, where are the points? I put it out on Twitter either yesterday or this morning, I can't remember. And honestly, most of the answers ranged from 0 to 3 if we're lucky. And I'm quoting what it said. And if that's the case, and I know we got 2 big games in there that, again, we're Ant's saying everything's going to be A-okay.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I'm coming to you now, Ant. I'm coming to you now. So the question is going to be, where do you see points in the next 5 games? I don't think there's a chance that Cooper goes before the Brighton game for a start because there's not enough time. Yeah, I'm bloody going to have to do the Brighton preview video tomorrow and it's already upon us. Yeah, but you obviously see no points in the next 5 games. So my question is, what's the point in not changing it up?
You see, I'm going to be a little bit hypocritical here because I always criticize people that say, get Cooper out. And then I say to them, who are you going to get in? And they either say, anybody, which is a stupid answer, or they give me some shit like Sean Dyche or Sam Allardyce or some crap like that. No, thank you. So my problem is that I would say to you, if I was a hard-headed businessman with no affiliation to Nottingham Forest, I would look at it and I would say we're getting no points out of the next 5 matches. So therefore, we may as well get a manager in now to give him as much time as possible to correct what's going wrong. But I don't really know who. I've heard a couple of interesting ones. Bielsa's kind of interesting. Somebody mentioned today Carlos Corberán. But not Premier League experience. So, like I say, my problem is that, yes, I think that if you look at it cold-heartedly and say that he's not going to get any points, so therefore he may as well go now, who do we get in?
Well, I don't look. If we discuss who comes in, I want it done.
As long as it's not Conte, that's all. I'll put that out there.
I'm a bit on the fence about having a discussion of who comes in because Cooper's still in the job. Yeah, I don't mind talking about who you'd like to see, kind of thing. And I just hope people understand what I'm saying in the chat here. It's not a case of get him out and bring this person in. It's more of a discussion of, okay, if he did go, who could turn the boat around? Who could turn the tide around in this? And for me, because I was having a chat with Dor yesterday. I don't know if any of you caught it. And he was pushing me, well, who comes in? Who should come in? Who should come in? And what I was saying was that my thought process hasn't gone that far. It's like, I'll give you another analogy. I love my analogies. It's like if you're in a bad relationship, yeah, and you can feel it coming to an end. Your first thought isn't, who am I going to go out with next?
Mine is.
We've got next one lined
In fact, I wouldn't end a relationship without having a backup ready to go, mate.
Well, forget my analogy. You've messed it up now. You've messed it up. All right, with normal people, yeah, who aren't as good looking as Anne, yeah, who are in a relationship, yeah, who've got their eyes to the ground, kind of thing. I've lost my train of thought. My point is, before you start looking elsewhere, you do have that conversation of, is this working out for me, and do I need to end it? Yeah, that's the first point. At least that's what I do. At least that's what I do, right? So that's where I got to yesterday, is a case of, I feel this relationship is coming to a close. I want it to end on good terms. I'm not here to give you my shopping list of these are the managers I want. I do have people in mind. I do think there's good candidates. What I will not accept is the argument that there's no one out there. Yeah, because bloody hell, what are we saying? There's only 15 capable managers in the whole world, and they're all taken up currently. That's not how football works. Yeah, Graham Potter comes in and he does a great job for Brighton. He's moved forward onto other things. Who had heard of Graham Potter before he was at Brighton?
Yeah, he might fancy a step up.
Get himself out of London, innit? Yeah. To the more pretty part of England.
Exactly.
But my point is, yes, a conversation can happen about it, but I want it to be respectful, because those people who may be on the fence are on the fence because of that thought of, well, if we do get rid of Cooper, and it is a good question, is there someone who can turn the boat around, who can lead us forward, and so on and so forth. But look at Brighton. I guess my long-winded point is, look at Bournemouth. They decided they wanted to get rid of Parker, yeah, be it for if it was on the pitch reasons or be it because of him complaining about the signings, etc. They got rid of him. They didn't have anyone else lined up. They put their caretaker man in, and he's gone on. And although the football is still boring, he's ground out results for them. So not everyone has to sack a manager. And then look at Wolves. They got rid of Bruno Lage. No one was ready for them the next day. They're still looking now. So in football, it's not necessarily one out, next person in within minutes of him. It's a case of a decision comes, is this relationship coming to an end? So that's my bit on it. And thrown my thought process completely, because I got images of him lining women up left, right, and center. Ez, I want to bring you in, mate. We haven't heard from you in a little bit.
Well, I was just going to say, I'll pick up on your point there. So, like what Bournemouth did, and I think all of us would agree that with their former manager, his name's just gone from Scott Parker. With Scott Parker, same thing he did with Fulham. A lot of people will agree that he's just not cut out for the Premier League level. Now, are we so full of ourselves and so giddy with the and I'm not knocking these again. And said it for all of us, basically. We love Steve Cooper. So nobody's saying he's shite or anything like that. But are we so full of ourselves to not admit he might not be at this level either? His ceiling might be youth teams and the Championship. Because that's how it's looking at the moment. The problem is there's no progress. From game to game, there's no progress. Like Warren alluded to, we had 3-game spell, the West Ham game, Spurs and Everton, those 3 games where we looked competitive in those games. We didn't look like we were going to win every single game, but we competed against teams that are better than us. And it's even harsh to say that about Everton, but I think they'll finish higher than us if we carry on the way we're going. But Tottenham was certainly a better team, and West Ham, you would think, would finish in a higher position than us this season as well. But we were competitive against those games. So after that, from a Man City game onwards, I've seen no fight, no passion, no shape, and I've seen a Hooten-style team. Now, one of the first things Cooper did when he came in last season was free the players up, because they were in a structured, in a rigid formation. He said, go out and play and be free. And now it feels like he's put the shackles on them, because we talked about how the players were sticking against that in the Aston Villa game. They stuck to the game plan. And they did that again yesterday, but the game plan was wrong yesterday. Haven't the players got the wherewithal to change things up themselves if they don't see it's going right, or are they so stuck in their ways? And why has he made them so rigid when he gave them freedom last season and we played a more expansive game? But even then, did we play a more expansive game, or did we constantly hit teams on a counter attack because we had the pace in the Championship to do that? We're being caught out in this league, but our game plan doesn't work. He's been too slow to make the changes in game and between games, and he's had plenty of time between games to do something on the training pitch, whether he's had all the plays or not with international. He's had time to work on the shape, and then you tell the players how you want them to play that shape. But I'm not seeing any progress, and I think he's hit his ceiling, and I hope I'm proven wrong. And I don't want to be right on this one, but I do think he's hit his ceiling. And I'm not here to talk about other managers yet, because that would be disrespectful, in my opinion, because he's not out of a job yet. I'm not going to talk about somebody like he wouldn't talk about a player coming to us until they've signed for us. In the same way, I don't want to talk about another manager coming to us until there's a vacancy there. But
I think apparently with all the women he's got, he's got more lined up.
But what Warren said as well, it's like they'll have people lined up, but what we can't do is just be too in love with the notion of what he did last season to be blinded by what's happening this season, because what's happening this season is night and day to what we saw last year, and it's the same manager, and we're not getting the same results, and we're not seeing the improvement, and we're not seeing progression. Like I said, we have gone backwards from those 2 or 3 games when we looked competitive, and we haven't looked competitive. Maybe the first half against Bournemouth, but even I said that at the time. That 2-0 lead at halftime flattered us. We scored from 2 set pieces, a corner and a penalty. In open play, we didn't create much. The result proved to be, our downfall at the end of the day, because I say that 2-0 at halftime flattered us. So even that wasn't perfect. We got a 2-0 lead and went into halftime looking decent, but not through great play or anything like that. So my biggest concern is no progress, and I'm not going to be talking about another manager coming in just yet. We're gonna back him while he's here, but he's. This was a point, and I missed it while I was trying to say, but Warren made. But it doesn't matter what we think. Marinakis, do you think Marinakis would stand for this? And this was a point he made before he was offered the new contract, that maybe the Villa game would be his last game, because Marinakis might not stand for it much longer. Yeah. I'm not saying I want him out. I'm saying I'm almost preempting what Marinakis might do, because he's not going to stand for it. And it doesn't matter that he signed a new contract, but that doesn't stop him from being
That's
sacked.
a bonus for the promotion last year. That's all that is, I want to bring Warren in just a sec. I just want to address this. Because I do slightly disagree with what you guys are saying about the Man City being the turning point. I agree with the walking boom. That for me, that Bournemouth match, Forest and Cooper, the players and Cooper, should I say, still haven't recovered from it. The fear started there. Man City is Man City. Yeah, I wouldn't have liked 6-0, but it is what it is. This is where the collapse happened. It started for me with Cooper not addressing or being smart to the fact that Bournemouth changed their formation in the second half. Didn't do anything until they scored their 3 goals. And since then, we've seen nothing but drab in performances as well. Even when we went 1-0 up against Fulham, it's this retreat to the halfway line. And that's what I want to ask you, Warren. I want to talk about the pressing side of football. For me, I coach at an under 12 levels. Yeah, I'm no Brian Clough. But one of the first things I taught the kids was to press from the front. To me, it's a fundamental of the game. The defense starts with the attack, and the attack starts with the defense. I always work on that philosophy, and I ain't no great manager. Look, we lost today 5-4, Kevin Keegan style. But anyway, the point I want to ask you, Warren, huh?
Yeah.
There was a few cries from some parents of that chant, in the crowd today. But anyway, what I want to ask you, Warren, is last season our pressing was one of the best. Yeah, Brennan was pressing, Zink was pressing, Surridge or Davies was pressing from the front. Would win the ball, high turnovers, and really take it to teams. Why the fuck has it changed this year? Because I don't understand what this retreat to the halfway line is. Do you agree with it, Warren, or do you think that it's an instruction from Cooper, or do you think it's player driven because maybe they're being lazy about it? I'll unmute you. When you're done speaking, bro, do me a favor. Just raise your hand.
You have to say over.
Lisa, can I speak? Sorry, Ant.
You have to say over. When you have to say over.
I understand your question. I'm going to refer to what Ez just said there as well. Last year, we did sit back at times and hit people on the break. But what caused us to be so devastating on the break was not just the speed, it was the pressing as well, as you've just said. And you talked about the players who were doing the pressing. I totally agree with when you said there. Totally agree. But none of those players are playing this season. It's totally different players.
Brennan is.
I didn't think you mentioned Brennan. Sorry, if you did mention Brennan, I missed him.
Can I also just say, against the likes
wait, if you're going to say something, let me mute him. Sorry, Warren, the big mouth wants to say something. Go on, I've muted him.
Sorry, I was just about to say, you also have to take into account we weren't playing against the likes of Van Dijk and Diaz and people like that. The defenses we're playing against were shit.
Yeah, exactly. But that adds the point of is you're better off winning the ball up higher up the pitch than letting the attack of the Premier League destroy our defense. Sorry, carry on, Warren.
Sorry, Warren.
No, I agree. I mean, I'm all for the pressing game. I love to see teams getting in other teams' faces, pressing, harrying them, trying to win the ball back. And like Kant said, the quality, wrong way, that way. Like Kant said, the quality's not there. But if you think about the games in the FA Cup, I know they're one-off games and it's against lesser teams, but we were still pressing those teams. And this year, we haven't done it. And like you said, is that a change of tactics from Cooper, or is that we have got a different set of players who can't play or can't be asked to play that way? Honestly, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't know what the answer is to that question, because it seems to me we're playing so differently from last season. And I don't think any of us like it. We'd all like to see us playing the way we did last year. But it's a different league. It's different teams, We've got no divine right to win. Are the players good enough? I mean, Ant said earlier he thinks the players are all good enough. And in theory, I agree with him. They are good enough. But the way they're playing, and whether that's their performance or Cooper's instructions, none of us know. I mean, people can come on these streams and say they know this, they know that. But unless you're there in the training sessions, you don't know. And if we all knew about football, none of us would be here because we'd be winning millions on sports betting, wouldn't we? So I don't know. What is the answer to that question? I think it could be a mixture of both. Cooper sort of slightly changed his tactics. I mean, he's hearing these comments week in, week out, I'm sure, from different people saying, have you thought of trying this? Have you thought of trying that? And he has made subtle changes here and there, but I think he needs to be brave and come up with a plan and stick to it, because at the moment, it's just not good enough. And maybe that's a case of he's got to inspire the players more as well. And I've finished talking.
It worked beautifully. And then that leads me to my next question. I don't know, Ez or Forest, and you can take this one, which is the other side of the pitch. Yes, I said defense starts in the attack, but when you're playing Cook, and I want to get onto this. Now, there are people that are saying, don't call players out. Don't say this about them. Don't say that. I'm not here going to call, insult their mums or anything. For me, as far as I'm concerned, these players get paid a healthy wage. Part of that wage package is to perform on a pitch. And part of our right as a fan is to analyze their performance. When they play well, we'll say they played well. When they've had a bad game, we'll say they've had a bad game. We're not going to go here and insult their mothers or their aunts. So I don't think there is anyone who is going to defend Cook being in the starting lineup, probably apart from Steve Cooper. For whatever reason, he sees him as the solution currently. But Ant, I want to ask you this. Firstly, are we playing too deep? I know it's a dumb question, but we got to kind of take it step by step. Are we playing too deep? And does Cooper realize this, or is he happy with it?
Of course we're playing too deep. When I was at the Villa game, I sat in the Trent end and, I had a view of the whole pitch, and I was staggered at basically against Villa, 2 banks of 4 basically on our 18-yard line. I mean, come on. You're not going to win games like that. You are not going to win games like that. You might scrape a draw if you're lucky, which we did, but you're not going to win games like that, especially against the better teams. In defence of Steve Cook, I will defend Steve Cook. He's a good player. Steve Cook's a good player. but he's not Premier League player. You know,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know if he ever was. I never really saw him play in the Premier League with Bournemouth. I don't, recall. But in the Championship, he was superb. So he's a good player. And I'm not slagging Steve Cook off. But what I would say is I don't think that he's currently good enough to play in the Premier League in the centre of defence. Yeah.
That's all. Okay, cool. Ez, on the same.
Oh, sorry.
point.
One more thing.
Go on. I love you, man. I love you.
Another thing that ticks me off a little teeny weeny bit is this don't slag players off, support the players and that. We're Forest fans. If we think a player's not performing as well as we want them to, or is not good enough, we're entitled to say that. Doesn't mean we're right, but it's our opinion. And it doesn't mean it's anything personal, but we want the best for our team. People need to understand that. I've seen so many. Stop flagging our players off and that. We love our players, but we want to win.
Yeah. And is there a Forest fan that never slagged off, I don't know, Carvalho? Or some of the other crap that we bought, or Bong, these people who are now defending these players, I guarantee someday, somewhere, once upon a time, they've had a say on Bong or whoever. I mean, the list is endless of the crap we've had.
Can I just remind people that Bournemouth let Steve Cook go on a free? Bournemouth let Steve Cook go on a free.
Yeah, exactly. In the Championship to a rival.
Yeah.
It does say it all, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let's move it forward slightly. And I've seen this come up a lot in the comments, and I just want to address it. Don't disrespect Bungs. Anyway, I want to ask about again, it's just moving slightly forward from the Cook talk onto the other defenders, the likes of Bidet, Biancone. I mean, Bali, I don't rate him, but you can chuck him in there.
You're not going to come out with your French agenda again, are you?
Well, so far, yeah, we monsieur, s'il vous plaît. But a lot of people are saying that Cooper doesn't know his starting 11, and I would agree with that. But my question back is, if you don't know who your starting 11 is, why are you not testing the rest of these guys out? Now, the people say, oh, you don't know what goes on the training pitch. You don't get to see the ins and outs of everything. I agree. But my point is, I judge what happens on the pitch. And there's clearly players who are not cut out or doing what's being asked of them or whatever. So how bad are Bidet, Biancone, whoever else you want to add into that, Embassou if you want, another French one. But Ez, is there something going on here, or is Cooper being too stubborn? And is he using the players that he trusts to protect him because he trusts them? Or are these other players really that shit?
It might be a combination of all those things, but I don't think, apart from that last bit, I don't think the other players are shit. I think there is a security in his mind by playing the players that he knows best, but it's not working. That's the point. I'm not criticizing Cook for being chosen. If he's being picked, he's going to go out. And I'm saying he's just he's another one who's probably seen his best days are behind him. It's not his fault for being selected, but that blame has to go to Cooper, and to say that he's totally blameless in all this. So then what's a manager's role then? Because I saw an argument last night, and I bring it up because I don't think it was an argument. I think it was just a soundbite. 23 years. It's taken us 23 years to get back, and yes, Cooper was the one who got us back after 23 years. But that doesn't give him immunity. It doesn't. It doesn't buy him all the time in the world. The club staying in the Premier League for me this season is the most important thing. I don't care how they do it. They've got to. They need to stay up, or at least give it a fight, because we're not fighting, and that's what's upsetting me the most out of everything. We're not fighting. We're going down with a whimper, and I'd rather that not happen. I don't want to be another club that gets even if we do beat Derby's record, we'll probably have our low. If we go down on this trajectory, it'll be the lowest points tally that we're going to go down with, you know. And I'm not having it. I'm not having that. We've got no fight in us, you know, when there's 2/3, 3/4 of a season to go, you know. So we can't give up yet. And yeah, you can't. Maybe he hasn't got the faith in those players, but then maybe he's not the right man to bring them to the next level. You know, he's. I'm not, like I say, I'm not calling for Cooper out because I think we don't need to. I think Marinakis will make that decision. He's not gonna give him immunity, and he's not gonna give him unlimited time. If I'm to make a prediction, if the performance and the result against Brighton is as bad as we're kind of fearing, then I don't think he's got much time after that. You know, I don't see the point in giving him the rest of the games leading up to the World Cup if we're not expecting any points out of those games. Might as well give that challenge to a new manager. And that's my final thing on whether I want Cooper in or Cooper out. I want Cooper to succeed, but I want to see massive improvements next game. And if I was an owner and I didn't see it, then I'm sorry, whether you've got a new contract or not, my club needs to stay in the Premier League, and I need to give them a chance of staying in the Premier League. And that is all I'm saying. As a fan who loves him, who loves my club, I want us to succeed, but I want us to fight. I want us to give ourselves a chance. And at that moment, we're not giving ourselves any chance in hell of staying up.
Yeah. And Warren, I want to come to you with this and just picking up on
Can I
something.
just say something very quickly?
You may.
Thank you. If the worst comes to the worst, and we've all said we want Steve Cooper to succeed, if the worst comes to the worst and he was to get the sack, I don't think there's one single Forest fan that won't feel sad about that. Yeah.
Agreed. And you will. But it still goes back to my initial point of I'm Forest first, then Steve Cooper. And what I will say is, let's just say, hypothetically, if it happened, yeah, and let's just say it happened this second and they hired in whoever the manager was, and this new manager went and beat Brighton and then got a draw with Liverpool and then nicked a 1-0 win at Arsenal. Yeah. I'm in cuckoo land now. Yeah.
I know,
but are you really telling me us as Forest fans, the Cooper memory becomes a memory? You know, when
let's be honest, I don't think no manager has ever had more love and support from the fan base than Steve Cooper's had. You know,
we got him a new contract. I mean, what more can you say after that?
100%.
You know?
100%.
Yeah. Just coming to you now, Warren, on a point that Ez made and a point you made as well about Marinakis, about you both feel at some point, it doesn't matter what we think as Forest fans, this will end up in his lap. Something I just want to add to that is everyone forgetting what we're doing to the stadium as well? This stadium, include the 150 mil we spent in the transfer window, we're about to put about 98 mil into the stadium as well. Do fans really think that stadium is going to be funded on championship level income? Or will they start to realize that the overheads that are coming to Forest could break us if we were to go down? There he is, the Greek father. Go check out the merch store, guys. You can grab yourself one of those if you want. Nice little plug there. So I want to ask you, just to elaborate a bit more on the Marinakis side of things. And there's all this talk about Marinakis Jr. as well and his involvement in recruitment and everything. Do you think everything is settled within the club, or is there's loads of speculation going on? But how long will Marinakis give him before it's done, in your opinion?
Can I quickly address another issue very quickly, just before I answer the Marinakis question, because I was muted. Just discussing last night's stream with you and Dor, and I know Ant was in the chat at the same time, and it was a great conversation, and it was healthy debate, which is what these streams are all about. I just wanted to say, I thought a few people in the comments were a little bit disrespectful, and you picked up on it, and I think you're right to, because although Dor's got his own channel, first and foremost, he's also a fan. So he's got every right to come on other people's channels as a fan. And I'm all for healthy, intelligent discussion, sometimes with us lot, unintelligent discussion, whatever.
You're talking about me again.
Yeah, unintelligent. Well, I was thinking more myself and Wolverine, because he nodded in agreement. But seriously though, there's no need to be nasty and rude about stuff. Some of those comments last night were, there was no need for that at all. The Marinakis question, though, I just want to say thank you to you is what I was getting to, because I thought you dealt with it really well.
I just want to add to that, because you're spot on. Look, me and Dor are great mates away from YouTube. We got to know each other through Forest. I got nothing but time and respect for him. He comes on my channel and he has an open invitation. If he was to turn up now, I'd invite him straight onto the panel. And he has the same respect for me as well. I've been on his channel many times. And the people in his chat treat me with respect, and I would expect the people in my chat to do the same to him and to anyone I bring onto this panel. Everyone who comes on here is giving up their free time. I pay none of these guys, well, apart from Ant, he's got an agent and a fee, but everyone else comes on and gives up their free time to do.
Don't let Ez know.
So my point here is, if you agree with Ez, Warren, and whoever else we bring on, or disagree with them, do it, but just do it respectfully, because this for me as well, this isn't my main job. I just do this because I love Forest, just as these guys come on because they love Forest, just as Dor does what he does, and he does it brilliantly because he loves Forest. So that's just what I want to say on that, and just have it respectful. A united fan base is better than a broken fan base, but we don't all have to agree on the same opinions. Back to you, Warren.
Yeah, thank you. Totally. We can all disagree on certain points, but just do it with a bit of respect. Going back to what you asked me, which was about Marinakis, the stadium side of things, if you remember, that was all in place when we were in the Championship, and they were trying to get the planning permission for that, and they were planning to take it down a couple of years ago, and then COVID hit. I don't think it's an issue with the money. I think he's more than happy to stump the money for it, because obviously his long-term dream is to have a Premier League club, and that is why. And there's a sort of back to what I was saying. I think he won't hesitate in pulling the trigger and sacking Cooper. Much as none of us want to see that happen. Well, not some people do want to see that happen, but not much as people don't on the whole. I mean, what was your vote last night? Did it end up about 50-50?
Oh, 50-50.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, it's quite from your audience, it's quite a split straw poll there. What was the other part about Marinakis? Oh, the infighting in the club. Yes, I think there's something going on. I mean, as Ed alluded to earlier, there's the leaked team sheets up a few times. I don't know. There's something definitely wrong there. There doesn't seem to be the unity there was last year. Who's doing that, and what the answer to that is, I suppose, because it's the same again. Unless we're in the club and seeing it, we don't know. You hear rumours, but I'm not going to speculate on rumours because there's no point. Sorry, was that everything you asked me?
Yeah. Do you want to add anything different?
No, I think you're right. I think the stadium will go ahead regardless. I think, and I think there is an issue within the club. I mean, with Marinakis Jr. I don't know, was it Ez who said this? Someone said it on one of the streams a few weeks ago. Was he kept appearing with certain players in the transfer window, but not with all of them? So were these the players he was trying to sign? Was there some of that going on where there was different people bringing players in? Because there's been a lot of speculation about Cooper's choices. And you talked about this on your stream the other night. My take on that is it doesn't matter. They're here now. We've got to get the best out of them. It doesn't matter who's brought them in. We can't change it, can we? There's no crying over spilt milk. We've just got to get these players playing well. Whether that's Cooper doing it or a new manager coming in and giving everyone a lift, I don't know. I'd rather Cooper gets given a chance to do it. But I think he's on a very short time frame now to turn it round. And that's me.
Love this.
Can I just chip in about stadium redevelopment? It did occur to me. It crossed my mind briefly. If we were to go down, which we're not going to, but if we were to, it did cross my mind. It could be a concern, but then I remembered I sat through that 6-hour bloody planning meeting. And during that meeting,
you hardcore you.
I know it was hard as well. And during that meeting, they explicitly said this is for Premier League and this is for Championship. The capacity of everything was the same. So they were talking about the funding and everything. That they had the funding for the Premier if we're in the Premier League and also if we're in the Championship. So it does appear that even if the worst were to happen, that would still go ahead.
Yeah,
because we need it.
Yeah. Ez?
Yeah, but is it going to be necessary if we're not in the Premier League? Do we need a 34,000 seat?
Depends how well we
38.
do in the Championship, Ez. Look at last year in the Championship.
Yeah, but last year was an amalgamation of everything, you know, going so right, and the whole club actually getting together and pushing in the right direction for the first time in at least 20 odd years that we saw that. You know, it's been a long time since we've seen the club as a collective. There was a little bit of it under Sabri. We saw some good times under Sabri. Saw some great crowds under his run before lockdown and all that. But it's been a long time since we've.
You're right. I remember in Div 1, when we were in Div 1, just turn up at the door and buy your ticket. There's no problems.
Yeah. But it's about those last 7 to 8 home games of a season. Every single one was a sellout, you know, and it's been a long time since we've had that. But yeah, I don't think getting relegated is going to help us from that point of view. Actually, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want to be building a stadium for the Championship. He wants to be doing it for the Premier League. I just touched on the Marinakis point. You know, he's got a job to do himself. You know, and he's running a business at the end of the day. Yeah, for us, it's more than that. For us, it's a passion. It's a pastime. It's something that we've grown up doing, and you know, we're more invested in it emotionally, but he's invested in it financially.
Yeah,
to tune up to millions of pounds. You know.
You know what? You know what I like about Marinakis that gives me encouragement is that the guy's a winner. He wants to win.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? So he's not going to give up. He wants to win that Premier League, and he wants us to go up, and he wants to win, and that can only be good for us, can't it?
And just so the point that I was going to touch on is about the Cooper signings. I firmly believe if they weren't Cooper signings, I think it's just been a side issue. If everything was going well, we wouldn't be discussing about who's signing the players. You know, we would be on the high and saying, you know, we're doing really well. The fact that we're not doing well is why all these questions are coming up. But I also believe
just on that point, I have noticed a swing in the fan base who were saying what Richard's saying, and he's absolutely spot on in what he's saying. When people were questioning why we bought 20 odd players, all Forest fans were using this as a defense, and it's the correct defense. But I have noticed over the last couple of weeks, especially the week where Cooper was pretty well, there were rumors that he was going, that suddenly a lot of Forest fans were turning around and saying, well, maybe we didn't need the 20 odd players. Maybe we should have bought our loan players. Maybe we should have bought 5 or 6 Prem experience players. So again, it just shows that the narrative with Cooper in, Cooper out, whatever it is, people can change like that in our family, and they're entitled to. I've got no problems with it.
What did I say? Winning cures everything.
Yeah, my point is that if they weren't Cooper signings, I think he would have gone a lot sooner. I think the fact that they are mostly his signings is why he's been given the chance to get it right. If it weren't his, I think he would have gone a lot sooner. I genuinely think that, because they would have said, well, we brought these players in. You can't get it right. We'll bring somebody else in who can get it right. But I think the fact that he's been given as much time, because let's be honest, taking our Forest hats off, if we saw a club doing what we've done this season, we would have expected that manager gone after the So we are blinkered in our view, you know. But if we're totally honest and we take those blinkers off, and no other manager would have survived as long as he has with the results. And not just the results. I go back to not just the results. It's the performances. It's the lack of fight. It's a lack of. We're not losing. That first season, Leeds came up under Bielsa. They took the game to every team that they played against. You know, they won some, they lost some, they got hammered in some, but they performed and they fought. They ran other teams. They showed passion. We're not showing that. And we're not showing that, and that's what's upsetting me more than anything else.
And I just want to say, on this whole Marinakis Jr. signing players and putting it on Twitter and stuff, I just wanted to say 2 points on this. One of the players that he showcased to the world was Niakate. He was in that seat with the seatbelt doing his medical. So are the ones who are saying Marinakis Jr. is now pulling the string saying, we shouldn't have signed Niakate as an example on that. And on the Lingard one, look, I'm not a fan of Lingard. I've made my opinions on Lingard very, very clear. But what I will say is, as the dating sites, of course, traditionally come in, what I will say is that in every one of those signings, I saw what Cooper said about these players. And in every one of those, he had a chat with them, or at the very least, that's what he publicly said. He said, I looked into the whites of their eyes. They looked into the whites of my eyes. I told them my project. They told me what they wanted. And specifically, that was in talking about Lingard. So, and just to take it a step further, and I can't believe I'm doing this, Simon Jordan, I'm starting to change my opinion on him in TalkSport. He's starting to make sense on a lot of things. And something he mentioned the other day, I don't know if any of you guys saw it. He said, do the Forest fans really believe that Cooper was shipped out onto an island by himself? And then Marinakis came and just dumped these 22 new players on him and said, here you go, get on with it. Or what happens in football clubs is a manager will have a list, the recruitment team will have a list, they'll sit down like adults, discuss it, but at the end of the day, it's Marinakis' money and it's his final say. And Cooper would have had an influence and he wouldn't. But the point he made is, I did really like this point, is he has never come across a manager who has said, stop giving me players. You know, and for me, I find that interesting.
It's a sideshow anyway, isn't it? The players we've got are good. Like I said earlier on, in my opinion, the squad we've got is good enough to be better than 3 other teams. It's up to the manager to get the best out of those players. One of Cooper's strengths, as we know, is his man management. He came into our club having bought none of the players. So why are we talking about who bought the players? The players are good enough. I don't have an issue.
And that leads me on to, if people are going to say the players are good enough, then I'm sorry, you've got to turn your attention to Cooper, who's meant to be steering, coaching, managing, being the tactician behind it all. And he's not doing it. He's not doing it. Even if I saw this much improvement from game to game, a step forward, I would grab it with both hands because I want him more than anything to succeed. But I'm not seeing it. That's my problem with it right now. And I fully expect, short of a miracle, come Brighton, where are we now? Tuesday, we are going to see Cooper playing as if his job is on the line. Because ever since he got the new contract, instead of releasing the handbrake, I feel like he's played like Villa and Wolves as if his job is on the line. And I'm thinking, but you just signed a contract, man. This isn't making sense to me.
Yeah.
Warren, I want to bring you in on that. On you now.
Yeah. I mean, we all know what contracts are worth in professional football at the top level. They're not worth anything, are they? I mean, he could be sacked at any time. I've heard several people give several reasons why they think he was given the contract. I've heard what you've said, for instance, Wolverine the other night. And I think maybe it should have taken the pressure off him, because even if it creates a smokescreen of, his job's safe, and we all know it's not, if results continue, he has gone even more defensive the last 2 games. And instead of, like you suggesting, he should have, released that mythical handbrake and said, look, go out there. Like he did last year. As, I can't remember who said it earlier in the stream. Someone said, he told the players, was it you? So go out there, play with passion, What I will say, though, is on paper, and I totally agree with what Ant's saying, those players should be good enough. But so far, those players haven't been good enough. I mean, can anyone honestly say, apart from, I'm going to say Mangala, who's not played a lot, is there anyone who's been consistently good every game they've played this year? Because I don't think there is. O'Brien's
the closest I can give you.
Well,
and that's it.
I would say O'Brien as far as up to the Leicester game, and he was, I don't like singling players out, but he was one of the players I thought was shocking. I mean, he wasn't the worst. There was, I think both, I'm going to say, I think both Williams and Loddy were really bad in that game. I don't think O'Brien was worse, but that wasn't a great game. So if players aren't going to be consistent, and that may be because of injuries and niggles, and they've been in and out of the team because he keeps trying to make little changes. But I don't know. I think with this contract, he should have been able to go out there next few games and be more adventurous. And like you say, let's hope for something on Tuesday night against Brighton, because the way we played the last 2 games is definitely a step backwards in a way compared to, as Ez was talking about earlier. There was a little bit of oomph in the 3 games after the Newcastle game, but that's fallen away ever since Bournemouth. Second half Bournemouth was almost like there'd been an argument in the dressing room, the way they came out, because there was just no passion. And like you say, Bournemouth made a tactical change and he didn't really respond to it. But I think there was more than that. The whole team played very flat. There was no passion second half in that game. And since then, there's been no passion. So whether there was something that happened, who knows? But,
On this, Warren, do you agree with this or not? Because I had this conversation with Goat yesterday. I don't fully agree with him on it. But is he losing potentially the dressing room?
If you look at the footage we get to see from the training sessions, etc., I would say no. It looks like everyone's, on the same page and that. But in the games, I mean, I did see him a couple of times. Actually, you made a comment last night, Wolverine, about he wasn't showing any passion. But I did see one bit yesterday, for instance, where Williams had an easy ball out to Johnson and missed it and crossed it cross field. And he was giving him quite a bollocking. He was saying, there's a pass there. And he was really aggravated with him. But we've not seen the passion that we saw after the county friendly. We've not seen that again. And I think they could do with a bit more of that, because he was right to come out and say that night after the county game. And as you've referred to, I think that's also the reason Bianco's not got much of a start, because he made 2 or 3 big mistakes that game. And Cooper looked absolutely horrified with him on the sideline, to be fair, that game.
But he's held it against him till now.
question.
It's harsh in a way.
Yeah, but that is like both Ez and Ant have said this tonight, and I agree. That is part of the manager's job, is to instill that passion. And that's why I'm saying it is a 50-50 thing. The manager's got to get the tactics right, and he's got to inspire the players. But the players have then got to get out on the grass and perform. It's all right saying we've got a great team on paper, and we have. But if they're not going to transfer that and actually play the game, then it's fucking pointless. Sorry for swearing, but it is really. There's no point in it.
This is uncensored tonight, so swear away.
Okay. Yeah, well, like I say, no point.
Yeah. Forrest Dant demonetized me with his first sentence, so I'm not making any money tonight.
I've not gone on to Brennan Johnson being the worst BJ around at the moment.
All right, let's move it on then. I want to talk and build into. I think I can leave you unmuted, Ron. There's no echo at the moment. Guys in the chat, please confirm. But I think the echo is gone. I want to move it on to Brighton. Obviously, we've got Brighton on Tuesday, and we've got, I think, decisions to make. I know what we all roughly want to see. I don't think, speaking to the 3 of you guys, we're a million miles away. And guys in the chat, let me know. We're going to talk about team lineups now. I guess more so than asking you guys what you want, Ez, what do you think he's going to go with on Tuesday, to put you on the spot a bit?
Okay. Well, I mean, you can just give me a hands up if you guys... Do we all agree that actually, for once, the formation is right at the moment? Yeah.
Yes.
So we all agree that formation is pretty much right. So it's the players.
If you want, I'll bring this up so we've got that to work with if you want.
We're happy with the formation. The first change has to be, for me, well, 2 changes are must-haves. You got to take Cook out and bring Worrell back in.
But will he? Will he?
Oh, are you asking me what I think he'll do or what I would want?
All right, let's do. I'll tell you what. For a bit of fun, because we did this last time. Yeah. Let's do what you would have, and then we'll try and agree between the 4 of us what he will do with help from the guys in the chat.
Sure.
So go on, give me what you would play against Brighton. Firstly, would you stick with this formation?
I would stick with a formation. Yeah, I would stick with a formation. So let's stay with that. But I would change 3 of the back 4. So I would take Williams out and bring Aurier back in.
Okay.
I would Worrell in for Cook, keep McKenna in, and I would take Toffolo out and bring Loddy back in.
Interesting.
So that's what I do. You guys can slate me in a second on the chat if you want to.
They probably will on Loddy, but
yeah,
I'm sure they will. One game is enough to make you a quality player again, but on Toffolo. But sorry, go on, carry on. Let's get through your team.
Yeah, so and in the midfield, if O'Brien's fit, 100% fit, I would take Yatesy out and replace him with O'Brien. I would keep Freuler in there because I think he's been the most consistent player over the last couple of games.
Yeah.
And I would take Chiarte out and 100% bring Mangala in for him.
All right. Tommy in the chat is saying Aurier is out injured and so is Lodi. He's right.
Okay.
They are. O'Brien O'Brien's got a bug. I think he might be back. This is all according to Cooper.
Okay. Well, let's say, I mean, obviously, I don't know the injury situation.
Let's
let's
for now,
yeah,
as an ideal.
Yeah, let's look at it like this for now. And I would make a change up front. I would bring a 1 year back in for Dennis. I would keep Johnson and Gibbs-White in. And I would, that would be my team.
Interesting.
If I was going in. And I know that the only other bone of contention is probably Johnson. But I would keep him in for now because I think he's demoralized at the moment. But I don't think we're getting the best out of him. But he's not helped himself. Yesterday was his worst performance I've seen so far this season. But yeah, that's what I'd go with, guys. So you guys chip in as well.
Guys in the chat, do you like or do you not like what Ez has gone with here? Let me know. Just say agree or disagree. If you disagree, I'm pretty sure I know what they're going to disagree on. What was let's come to you. Sticking to the formation, we'll make that assumption.
Definitely.
Nice to have you not on mute. Go on. What would you do? Just pick out what you
would
change.
Well, I quite liked Adam's suggestion back in the comments just there. Can we have 2 goalkeepers? I think that might be a good start. Actually, I'd be very similar to Ez. I think I'd take Johnson out for a game. I think he needs a rest, maybe just sort his head out a bit. I'd start Surridge because he's not had a chance really since the beginning of the season to start.
Up front?
And I'd start him up front and I'd play Gibbs-White on the right and Dennis on the left.
Okay.
Just to give that a go.
Yeah.
I agree with what Ez said midfield, and my only change in defence, has got he's got Mangler for O'Brien. Yeah, I agree with that. And then probably Toffler over Lodi, especially if Lodi's still got this ankle injury.
Okay, interesting.
And
what about
that would be my team, apart from Adam's 2 keepers, obviously.
Well, let me ask you about the keeper. There's been a lot said about Henderson, and I really did notice it against Wolves. His distribution was shit.
Oh, his distribution at Villa was absolutely probably one of the worst I've ever seen by a Forest keeper. I lost track in the second half, especially how many times he kicked it out into touch. I've never seen a Forest keeper kick the ball out that many times. It was shocking. Hennessy's a good keeper, though. You know, I don't know if Cooper would be brave enough to swap them. Sorry, Az.
No, I was going to say, but as soon as you mentioned the goalkeeper situation, actually, I was thinking, I probably would change it. I would probably bring Hennessy in.
Yeah, I mean, Henderson's doing great at the beginning of the season, but I think whether it's mind games with him because he's conceded so many of these long-distance shots, and it must, for any goalkeeper, that must be a nightmare. Steve Sutton was chatting on BBC Radio Nottingham on Saturday after the game about it. I was quite interested in what he said about him. But his distribution was bad against Wolves, but it wasn't as bad as it was against Villa. That was really. I mean, I was sat with Tim, as you know, Az, and I said to Tim, "This is not acceptable at this level." And he turned around to me and said, "Well, actually, Warren, it's not acceptable at any level of football." And he's right. It was shocking distribution. Also, the other side, not just the kick in, we haven't got where we've been sport the last few years with Samba and the way he throws or bowls the ball out so quickly and gets us on the counter attack. Henderson seems incapable of doing that. Whether it's instructions he's had to slow the pace down, I don't know. But we are missing that from another thing we're missing from last season and how we counter attack so well. But yeah, possibly give Hennessy a run out. Can't do any harm, can it?
But is it a case of people again thinking what we're not playing is better than what we are playing? Because Hennessy wasn't great before. He's a decent keeper. But my point with Henderson is, yes, he's letting a lot of long shots. I haven't seen him make a clanger in terms of goals. I've seen when I went to the Man City game, I think it was their 3rd goal where he kicked it straight out to the right winger. I can't remember who it was now, maybe Bernardo Silva or something, and they scored from it. and that sent some alarm bells ringing in my head. But are the players open enough for him to get balls out? When I go back to his interview, when he said Mangala, never heard of him, he comes and wants the ball every single time. For him to notice that, does that by default mean that every other Forest player isn't making themselves available? If you see what I mean. So
No,
I want to put the balance to the argument. That's all I'm doing here. Yeah.
Because when you see throw-ins last few games, no one's moving. We're getting a throw-in, and you're looking at the boys, and no one's moving. And it's so frustrating. It's like, do you want the ball or not? You're there to take the ball, play football, make a move, find some space. You know, it's like it's basics that they all should be doing. So maybe that's part of it as well. That, you know, maybe he's not seeing. But what I saw at Villa was a few times where there was movement and there was people taking runs. There was a great one with NGW, and it was clear if he'd bowled it out to him. And he just sort of stopped and threw his hand to his head, exasperated, because it happened several times in the game. Like you say, though, he hasn't made a massive error. It's all, you know, you could maybe class every one of these goals that's come from the outside more down to a lack of closing down, as we've all said, you know.
Yeah. So,
which is the responsibility of both defence and the midfield.
So what do you want, Henderson or Hennessy?
Me?
Yeah.
I'd probably stick with Henderson, but I think at some point it might be worth giving Hennessy a run out.
Okay. Ez, you wanted to change that, yeah?
Yeah, I'd actually bring Hennessy in, because I think you'll play him in the cup game against Tottenham, which isn't that far away, to be honest. It's a point, actually. I was on with Dover last time you guys did this hub, and one of the things that I brought up, I asked them the question, because both Des and Dora had been to every single game this season. I said, and we were referring to the Villa game where, like I said, Henderson's distribution was appalling. But was it always that bad, or had it gotten bad? Because I don't remember his distribution being as bad in the previous games. It wasn't always 100%, but certainly it was never as bad as it was against Villa. That was the worst I've seen, you know. Has it got worse, or has it always been that bad and we just not noticed it as much? I don't think he's especially with his throws. I think Samba's throws were one of the best I've seen from any goalkeeper. Any other keeper that reminds me of his passion and his commitment was probably Lee Camp. Was probably my only other keeper that I could you know, pick out in the last 20 odd years as a Forest keeper, you know. But it makes a difference, because that's where, if the defense starts from the front, the attack starts from the back, and it starts from your goal.
Exactly.
And it has been poor. It has been really poor.
Yeah, but you'd go Hennessy. Okay. I personally would go Hennessy. I'll do my team in a minute. Forest Dan is up next. Can you see it okay today? And I've made it bigger for you.
I'm looking on my telly.
I can zoom in more. There we go.
I would 100,000,000,000% have Henderson in goal. He is a fantastic goalkeeper, and he has got superb distribution. The problem is you cannot throw or kick a ball to a player that's hiding behind another player.
Yeah,
you're quite right. I've quoted that interview before as well, when he says he loves Mangala because he's the only guy that actually shows for him.
Yeah,
you can't pass to somebody that's hiding.
Yeah,
so I'd keep Henderson in goal 100%. Who the bloody hell's Hennessy, for God's sake?
Hey, he's my Welsh goalkeeper, mate. I'm a Welsh fan now.
Wait. Did you say Hennessy or Henderson?
I meant to say, with all due respect, who the hell's
Henderson? He's going with Henderson. He's sticking with.
I thought he said 100% Hennessy. I was like, okay.
No, Henderson.
1,000%
Henderson. Henderson. No doubt whatsoever. He is. And I tell you what, that guy cares. I was at the Fulham game. I was on the front row behind that goal. He loses his shit when the goal goes in, I tell you. And the goals he's conceded, they've been world class.
Yeah.
No goalie would have saved them.
They've not been closed down, mate. The fucking
I know, exactly.
In the defense.
Exactly. He's a goalkeeper. If that ball is hit from 22 yards into the far corner at 70 mile an hour, no goalkeeper saving it. So, yeah, Henderson, I think.
You did say Hennessy. Thank you, Tommy. I'm glad someone's listening.
I said, all right.
All right, go on. Who's your back four?
Lodi for Toffolo.
Okay, I know people are going to say he's injured, but I don't care. We're going with this. By the way, can I just say, just before you carry on, this is pissing me off as well, because did you guys see the training video from a day or two ago, where, as always, they're doing their training with the 5-year-old size goals, but Loddy was in that training video, destroying it down the left flank, getting good crosses in and everything to Surridge and what have you. And then Cooper comes out and says, he never said anything about an injury when he was asked in the interview before the match. And then after the match, when I saw his interview, he's like, oh yeah, Loddy is injured. Oh yeah, O'Brien is sick. Oh yeah, Aurier is carrying an injury. I'm starting to get pissed off with the lack of clarity on injuries with this team and what's going on. We don't know what's going on with Niakate. We don't know what's going on with Loddy now, with Aurier. Omar Richards is meant to be roughly about ready for training, probably by the end of this week. Do I believe it or not? Right now, I have no clue. Yeah. But why all this secret squirrel stuff on it, man? Does it really make a difference to the opponents? But it'd be nice for us as fans to know. You know, it's my gripe with that. Sorry, Ant.
It's okay. Loddy is a class defender. He played for probably the best defensive coach in the world, in probably the best defensive team in the world. He's a class.
He's the best defensive manager in the world.
That's what I said.
Okay.
Didn't we agree on this, Wolverine. You know that.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Toffolo. I think Toffolo's a fine player, but Loddy is he's up there. I like the midfield. I'd keep that.
Wait, you keeping the centre backs?
Well, I'd obviously have Niakate in like everybody else if he was fit.
But we can't now.
Yeah, I would probably go with that. I cannot. I saw Bianconi and he looked good for me, but I've not seen enough of him to know whether he could fill that right-sided centre-back berth. I know, I'm being honest. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'd stick with that. Midfield, yeah, I think that picks itself pretty much. And I would put a 1 year in for Surridge.
Okay.
Because I think Surridge is a fantastic impact player.
Yeah. That's pretty much my team, mate. Yeah. My only contention with this team is Worrell. I want Bidet to get a shout.
Yeah, again, sorry, Wolverine. Again, that's the one area I was looking at. You've seen a lot more of Bardet than I have. So I can't say, yeah.
No, if you haven't seen him, you haven't seen him. I respect that.
Yeah.
The other one I would consider, if Aurier is injured, I've got to say, I've not been impressed with Nico Williams. And, you know, call him out or not, I'm calling him out. I don't think he's been great. If Aurier is injured, I'd put Biancone at right back because he can play at right back as well as right centre back, and I'd give him a run out. Nico Williams for me has been getting progressively worse. I thought he was good for the first 2 to 3 games. His crosses are poor. I think Nico
Williams has got great potential, but he needs more experience. But
yeah,
you know, like I said, we're not a training school, and.
But for me, he would work well coming into a team.
Right back. I wouldn't object to that.
Well, I'm just saying, with Nico Williams, he would work well coming into a winning team.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, where you're blooding in the youngsters into a winning team, not blooding it into a struggling team, which is what he would end up doing here. So those, we're pretty much on the same page. I think all 3 of us, give or take, all 4 of us, sorry, are pretty much there or thereabouts.
And none of us are like Steve Cooper's team.
Yeah, but I still think Coyote will play. I still think he'll stick with Cook for this Brighton match. I still think Yates will play as well. And I just think he's going to go with his favourites FC, tried and trusted. I cannot see him dropping Jono after he's missed that penalty now, because in Steve Cooper's eyes, it will shatter his confidence. And and for me, that shows the softness again. I wouldn't drop Jono because of missing the penalty. Let's get off the screen there.
No.
I would drop him because I think he's tired and his performances lead me to believe that he needs time out of the team. That's it. Nothing to do with the penalty. You can miss a penalty. We saw him miss a penalty last season. I didn't see anyone slating him when he didn't dink it down the middle and got saved. It happens, but he scored how many other ones? You know. So for me, it's about his performance.
Don't forget, of course, if Niakate was fit at left centre off, you know he'd be right centre off, don't you? Obviously, Ryan Yates.
I forgot about that one. I don't know if I might still Warren, quick cheeky question. Put him straight about this Yates centre back.
Oh, I totally agree. Yeah, get him in there.
All right, guys, we've been going for quite a while. Sorry I've kept you so long. I want to finish just by going round. And guys in the chat, if you wouldn't mind, just give the video a quick like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're following all these guys either on Twitter or in Ez's case on his YouTube channel. But yeah, get the likes up. I hope you've been enjoying the debate so far. I want to just finish up touching with the Brighton game. So we've obviously gone through the teams. I think if Warren's team played or Ez or Ant's team played, I wouldn't have too many complaints. Yes, they're slightly different to mine. And I think it'd be the same with all of us. And maybe the guys in the chat agree or not. He is there. He's recruited another one. He's happy. So I just want to go around, really just get a score prediction and how you think Forest will line up. Will it be a low block team or do you think we will go for it? I'm going to come to you, Warren, first, and then we'll work. Ant's got his head in his hands. So I'm going to go to Ez after so Ant can recover a little from the heaviness of that question. So Wazza, what do you reckon?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be a low block team. And I'm fingers crossed and toes crossed and everything else I can cross that it's not, that it's going to be an attacking team. But I think on the evidence the last 2 weeks, he's going to go low block again.
Really? Just before you carry on, they're asking for a poll, so I've chucked a poll in. They want the Cooper in or out poll. It's there if you guys want to see. It'd be good actually to see where the flavour is. And do you think he'll be favourites FC, or do you think we'll see some of the players we've suggested there?
Once again, it's probably going to be favourites, isn't it? I don't know. I'm hoping he's going to be brave enough to put a couple of new players in, or maybe not new players, but change up a little bit. Try and inject something into it. But sadly, it's probably going to be favourites in a low block. But we can always hope. We can always hope.
You're inspiring me, mate. You're inspiring me.
And well, if it's up to me, I'd get Mangala. Mangala would be on there straight away. I don't understand why, if he's fit, he's on the bench. He's probably the best player in the squad at the moment. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys in the chat, get your score predictions in. Adam, 8-0. I love your optimism. Even I'm not that delusional.
Only VAR's up there.
Ez, do you agree with Wazza, or do you think? Look at these. This is depressing, man.
Right. I don't want to look up. I'm not going to go for a score prediction on it because I just want a performance prediction. I want to see a better performance. I don't even care if we lose anymore. I just want to see performance. I want to see us fight. I want to see us go down fighting. And I'm hoping he's taken on board because I believe about, he's aware. Cooper's aware. Cooper's living literally in the heart of a city. He's feeling the heart. But he's got to be reacting to it because we can't all be wrong. Especially on the Mangala situation, we can't all be wrong. What's he seeing that we're not seeing? I just want to see, like I say, can I just add as well, I'm going to be able to watch it on Amazon Prime because I signed up for my free 30-day trial because I clicked on your link. I definitely sent a few links in there, but no, I definitely I don't use it, so I needed it to watch a match on Tuesday night, so I'm definitely going to be making.
So guys, if you want to watch the Brighton match, if you want to put yourself through the pain, the link's pinned to the chat. If you just go and click there and you haven't got Amazon Prime, 30-day free trial, sign up and cancel straight away. You still get the 30 days and you'll get to watch the Forest one, or just remember to cancel or keep it if you want, whatever you guys want to do with it. Sorry, Ez, go on.
No, I was going to say. So I just don't want to come out of a game upset by not only the result but also the performance as well. You know, let's at least up our performance. Let's go down. Let's get out of this fighting. You know, let's put some fight into it and let's inspire the fan base, because it's a point that I made to you offline. I think, and I said it to Ant today as well. I had to watch a game from New York yesterday, but I watched it and I was listening to Gary Bertels, who was a co-commentator on the game, and he was really quite scathing of the way we were playing, the way we were trying to play the ball out, the fact that they were pressing us, but we're not pressing them, and you could see the effect of them pressing us. And it's a point that you made actually on your analysis earlier on today, my friend, about we've got the lowest pass percentage, or one of the lowest pass percentages in the Premier League, and primarily that's because we're passing between the back four and then back to the goalkeeper, and then we're going long, and we're losing it every time we're going long. So that's why that game plan is not working. Be braver. I want our players to be braver. And like Mangala shows for the ball, I want all the midfielders showing for the ball. I want our three attackers coming short and asking for it. I want to see movement, and I want to see progression on Tuesday night. And if we don't see it, then we're going to be having the same conversation again. But I don't think Marinakis' patience is going to last much longer, personally, if we see the same dribble that we saw yesterday. Let's hope for an improvement in performance more than anything else.
I'm still not feeling optimistic. And can I turn to you for any optimism?
Well, it's quite simple, really. I think that Steve Cooper will sign his own death warrant and stay exactly the same, and we'll lose 2-0. Or
so no is the answer.
Or he could play my team and we win 2-0. There you go. Interesting.
So death warrant it is then.
No, I fear it.
I'm going to be doing the Brighton preview match tomorrow in between meetings at work. So I don't know, man. I can't see, and I'll ask the guys in the chat from now to the World Cup. So with 15 points up for grabs, just put in the chat how many points you think we're going to get out of those 15. And saying A-OK 15.
Can I just say your poll is 53% out, so it's very close again.
It's very 50-50, isn't it? We probably should have done that at the start to see where.
I think we're all pretty much like that, aren't we? We're all kind of wanting to see.
And like I've said so many times, I might wake up tomorrow and think I've been a bit harsh. I love him. Yeah, I don't think I will at the moment. But look, let's see what happens against Brighton. But Wazza, 15 points. How many say you from it?
If we're extremely lucky, 2.
All right, that's 2 more than Ant's giving us.
If we get a couple of fluky VAR decisions, we might get a couple of points.
I was going to say, in a way, that's even worse than like 0 in a way.
That is based on how we've played last few games. If he suddenly decides to change it up and we start playing better, then I can see maybe getting a goal. We've got some tough games coming up.
Where are they getting 5 from?
Yeah, well, where's Fernandes got 7 from? We have to win the game. I'm looking at these. Sonny saying
can I just answer Dean's question as well? I haven't got a channel, Dean. I'm just lucky enough to come on some of these streams every now and again. But thanks for asking.
Twitter. It's at Warren Who 2, isn't it, off the top of my head?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
No, I've not got one on Twitter. Wolverine says I'm not allowed to have one. So
not allowed.
You can have one. Just keep it to yourself, innit? You can have one.
I'm going to come to you, Ez, for your point talent.
The next one lined up, though, apparently, just in case.
Before I come to you, let me just shout out some of these ones. Smithy's saying 3, Ben's saying 4, Wake Up News is saying 0, Daz saying 4 is being optimistic, Fonzie saying 0.
Oh, deluded.
Shit, man, look at this. Dildo back in.
69.
Oh, just to finish it off, it's saying 0. Dylan, Dylan, you're making me feel a little better. 10 out of 15.
Yay!
I'll take that.
Wow.
I don't want to end this on doom and gloom, so I'm not going to put any more up. I'm going to leave Dylan's there. 10 out of 15.
Yeah.
Ez, what are you saying out of 15?
Points tally. Save. But I'm gonna go with. I think we're gonna. No, right? Yeah, I'm gonna be positive on that one game. I think we'll get 3 points because I think we're gonna beat Liverpool, and I need us to beat Liverpool.
That's just because your brother supports them, man.
Exactly. Oh, he had a right dig at me today, and yeah, he was right. It was the thing that we haven't mentioned yet, but let's just bring it up before we go. That bloody that post on Twitter yesterday from the Forest with the Cubs, with the Wolves Cubs, and a perfect response from Wolves. Because I don't know if anybody else noticed as well. In the background, if you see on the hoardings, it also says "Have a safe journey home, Notts Forest." So they were properly laid into us, and we deserved it. Why open us up like that? That was a ridiculous decision by whoever made that decision. Because what were we bragging about going into that game? We were bottom of the league. I don't know what we were bragging about going into that game.
I'm gonna disagree with you, man. I liked it, but then I'm an asshole, aren't I? So, and I'll poke at every fan base, even when they're better than us.
I'm an arsehole and I liked it too.
I get why people didn't like it, yeah, but I cannot sit here and be hypocritical when I call Bournemouth boring mouth and Fulham Rich FC and everything.
I understand the banter, but do it from a position of strength. A bit more power rather than the bottom of the table, and just it backfired. Whatever happened, it backfired.
I love it, Simon. I love it. Oh, God. But yeah, I didn't mind it. Warren, most fans, it was clear, didn't like it. What did you think to it? Right in your own death, Warren?
Yeah, I'm with Ez more than you two. I think on this one, I think you put up after you've won the game, not before. And I think that was quite a sly touch by the Wolves guy on their social media, making the Notts Forest reference, because we all hate that, and they know it. So
I think so. As long as you can take it, you can give it, can't you? It's like what they did back to us. I thought was funny because fair enough.
I thought it was brilliant. Yeah, brilliant.
I loved it.
Well, apparently they've taken it down. I was reading this morning.
Yeah. For me, there's two things I'll add on it. Yeah, they committed to it. Don't take it down. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's banter. At least that's how I saw it. I know a lot of people didn't. The second point on it, I don't know how true it is, but apparently Neves got hold of it before the match and brought it into the changing room and tried to fire up all the players with it. So maybe it did backfire on it. But, they're taking the piss out of us now, so be it. But I at least, do you know why I liked it? Shall I tell you really why I liked it? It was the most fight I saw out of Nottingham Forest yesterday. Argue with that point.
No, it was fight, but we had nothing to back it up with.
No substance,
Well, it's all fight and talk without, pulling any punches. If we came out fighting and it was actual playtime, then I would have accepted it a bit better. But yeah, we did. The performance didn't back up the bravado.
I think with social media, some people take it more seriously than others, don't they?
Yeah,
what I mean. To me, it's water off a duck's back. I don't care what they say. I'm a Forest fan. They're still Wolves fans,
Or dingo fans. Dingo fans.
Who the fuck calls himself after an animal, eh? Yeah. And I agree. You should see the shit I get called on. I find it funny. I'm just thinking, you guys keep retweeting that and spreading my name. That's fine by me. But yeah. All right, guys. We'll wrap it up on a jokey point. Because I'm sorry, it's gone 2 hours here. I don't know where the time's gone.
I've got one more very important point to make.
Go on. Let's have some closing statements. Go on, Ant.
Yeah, okay. My closing statement. If ever Ez goes down to all their home matches, if you ever get a chance to meet him, give him a sniff because he always smells blooming lovely.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, I'll be with you guys at the Brentford match, so I'll have a whiff. Yeah. Warren, anything you want to close with, buddy?
Yes, I just want to. I don't know if you heard what I said then. After what Ant said, just make sure you've got the right person before you go up and start sniffing, or it might seem a bit weird.
don't go
Just make sure
sniffing.
it is actually Ez. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he looks like Ez. I'll just go and sniff him. I was going to ask Ez, when are you and Joe back on? Any news on that? I know obviously we chatted about it on Monday.
Yeah, no, it's still the case. I mean, he's going. I don't know. I hope he doesn't mind me saying so. He's going for a house move at the moment, as we all know, following Forest and moving house are two most stressful things you could do in life. So, yeah. As soon as he's settled, we'll get back on it. But I don't want to do it without him, and I do think that I'd rather keep you guys waiting and give you something to really look forward to. But yeah, no, I won't do it without him. I could, but I'd rather wait till he's got himself settled and then we can get back onto it. But at the moment, like I say, whilst Wolverine's happy to have me even once a week, it was funny because I was watching back the show the other day when we had Dave on, and he said that the guys from Gate 7 were asking him, where can we find you on YouTube? And he should have said, on Monday you can find me with Dor, Tuesday I'm on with Wolverine, Wednesday I'm on with Jamie. And yeah, so he's there 5 days a week. But, guys, as long as people want to hear my opinions, whether they agree with them or not, I'm happy to do this just to keep my...
I'll take the YouTube
port. You know, last week I opened up the show with, Michelle. I couldn't believe it. She actually watched it, right? The first thing she said to me, that Dave talks a lot, doesn't he? The first thing she said to me, that Dave talks a lot.
Well, Dave will be back on Wednesday. I love Dave. And for her to say Dave talks a lot, being related to you. Wow.
Yeah, I know. We've had it.
I just want to address this because I get this asked a lot. That's a question here, new sub for the last few weeks. Why?
Because it supports Wolves.
Yeah, I support Wolves. I'm a secret Wolves fan. What it is, guys, it's nothing that exciting. As a kid, when I got my first Xbox and got Xbox Live, my Xbox gamer tag was Wolverine, and it's just stuck. It's always been that. And obviously, he's the greatest superhero of all time. No one could kill him.
That's my Wolverine impression, by the way.
That's pretty good. Pretty good. No one kills it. He could kill Superman. That's a whole other stream. So that's why. What's my real name? Logan. It's not. All right.
We don't know his real name.
Huh?
I said we don't know his real name.
You don't.
He's got me on WhatsApp.
Yeah. We'll talk later.
No question.
All the years I've been streaming, it's been Wolverine. It just adds the mystery to it. Ez, any closing things to add from you all?
Just for people who are watching this now or watching this back, it's obviously put a like on it, comment and subscribe on the channel. But this wasn't a Cooper out brigade. We were just stating our views and our feelings, and it's still raw. It's still raw after the game, and so don't jump on the bandwagon that we're all Cooper. We all love Cooper. We've all said it, and we've said it multiple times. We just love our club more, and we want to see the best for our club. And if that means somebody else takes over reins, then so be it. But Cooper won't go down as anything other than a legend in our eyes and the eyes of any fan who's got any sense, what he's done for our club. To put us in this position for us having this, to be able to have this debate, it won't go unremembered, and we do love Cooper. We just want the best for our club, so hopefully that's we're going to leave it.
And from me, just a couple of closing things. I'm officially Cooper out. I'll say it. But what I will always say is, I've said it so many on my channel, every opinion is valid. Cooper in, Cooper out, on the fence. I don't really care as long as you make it respectful and say your points. But I will always continue to give you guys my true opinion. I know there will be some people that want to sit on the fence or don't want to have this discussion or talk about the taboo subjects. I'm always happy to talk about them. Why not? This is part of football. It has to be discussed. I will say that if this wasn't Cooper in charge, if we had Joe Bloggs in charge, I'd be very surprised if many Forest fans were Joe Bloggs in. So I'll just finish with that point on it. But outside of that, I just want to keep it real. I want to keep it open, and I want to keep the discussion flowing. Just keep it respectful. especially when I'm bringing guests on like these guys who I've kept captive here for 2 hours out of their own kindness, out of their own time as well. So please remember that, and please do give the video a like. We will wrap it up there, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with maybe some Forest news, but definitely the Brighton preview video. And then obviously on Tuesday's the big day. We got Brighton. So we'll have the watch along, the player ratings, and we'll do a fan forum if it doesn't get too crazy late on that. And Dylan, if you're still in the chat, I want you on that one if you're around. And then if you do, just a quick reminder, want to watch the Forest Brighton match on Tuesday and you haven't got Amazon Prime, click the link that's pinned to the chat. Free sign up, free to cancel, and you'll get to watch the match completely for free. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much to Ez, Warren, Forest, Ant for giving up your free time as well. I do appreciate it. Like the video before you leave. Someone say that? Subscribe to the channel.
I'd say thank you.
No, thank you, mate. Thank you. It's your time that you've given up. And we will see you guys tomorrow. Come on, you Reds.
Come on, you Reds.
You Reds.